Hey, we're on. Hey, this is David Zunker, and what was I? According to the little Facebook post the other day, Tarot Master, and I am. Let's put that back. I'm unboxing, having a look at the lovely Starman Tarot. Not that I know that much about it, but it certainly comes in a substantial and attractive box. A lovely, not hardcover, but substantial paperback. And we've got the lovely little satin to pull that ribbon to kind of get them out. Glasses will be coming on and off here. A lovely Lo Scarabeo deck. It's certainly a fabulous artist. Hope to kind of cyber meet him at this upcoming tarot conference I'm involved in. Do I really want to do that? Yeah, I don't want to go one here, but anyway, we'll start. You gotta, it's kind of odd. Really, the backs, I'd have to really scrutinize that to see, can you actually tell which way, if it's right side up or... Yeah, you can. There's little markers, I think, in that messy back. Kind of cyber static, whatever the heck that's supposed to be. In my mind right now. There's markers. There's the straight side. There's the not straight side. There's little differences on the edges and the bottom and top. So I can actually tell which, if you really wanted to bother, whether it's right side up or not. But I generally use them all right side up anyway, which we're not going to get into right now. So yeah, well, obviously I'm going to have to take off the glasses for this, much of this. I don't want to start with the Nine of Swords, so let's start with, interesting, the Fool here is called the Sacred Clown. And before I bring this up close to the camera, because that's what it's going to take. Interesting, the kind of jester hat here is horns. That's kind of shadowed behind him. There's this whole other being there. It's like he's channeling this spirit, or it's representative of the spiritual self coming through, which is probably more in keeping with the meaning of the card. That's hilarious, though, to give it a little more examination. Is around his feet are something to look for, are these like bear traps. So instead of nearly falling off a cliff, he's having to avoid traps. I don't know how that's coming through, but that's how it's going to look. So that's kind of cute. I can get a lot from that. And the big sun behind him, obviously, it's this spiritual energy is the kind of connotation here. Like it. A lot going on. I don't know about, they're all very busy. The busyness on the Fool card is more chaotic. Looks like a fluorescent graffiti party with artists that disagree. But you gotta like the kind of, he's got a corset on, kind of the sexual ambiguity, heavenly horn being behind him and on his hat. Cool, I like it. Almost too much. It's like definitely one of the things I noticed right away is there's so much going on artistically in the computer generated, obviously, art that You can look for details that are there or not, which is appealing. There's always seems like another level to go through here. We got a what looks beginning to look a little bit more like David Bowie, Starman edition in the Magician card, and a lot to look into with the geometric shapes around him. There's a tree of life on the side, and the really interesting here is the it's like he's pregnant. There's like a baby, kind of a womb on it. But the Magician card, okay, called the Starman in this deck. So already we got 0 and 1. Instead of the Fool, we got the Sacred Clown. And instead of the Magician, we have the Starman. Back to normalcy a little bit with the High Priestess. High Priestess is always one of my favorite cards in traditional decks because of the meaning, because of the goddess image. Of course, the High Priestess isn't the High Priestess. She is kind of the goddess form, Isis. And that is certainly borne out here. It's sort of like an Isis Egyptian image. And of course, there's the hint of wings coming off her arm, and goddess Isis is often depicted with wings, more sacred geometries. Creative force, and we get into the creative force of the Empress. Now, I'm not going to go card by card, probably not even through the whole kind of major arcana. But so that's where we're going here with the first few anyway. Number 3 with the Empress. Interesting. It's, Empress is usually sort of depicted with earthy connotations, the Demeter goddess connotation, Mother Gaia, that sort of thing. But here it's all creative. It's all reds, orange. Interesting. Although we do have the the earth symbolism here. It's like, and she's on these petroglyphs rock, which kind of represents the ancientness. But here we go. Oh, I'm going to have to see if I can pause this, or I'm going to be disturbed. Da-da-da. Just letting Normie the cat in there. But, yeah, all right. Move on. Emperor. Nice to see a person of color in the ruler position here. And again, I guess it's going to be a theme throughout once we start looking at these in more general terms. But our emperor, not seated. Generally, the emperor is on a throne. He's not seated here, arms crossed. Certainly that idea of ready for business, but maybe not so much conducting business. Interesting little subtle, he's got like a patch on his kind of silver pants here. That's the Knights Templar cross at his knee about, which is interesting. So much going on. It's like he's a giant being, and there's a little bay, a little dock, like a huge small castle at his feet. So much going on. There's like the ancient, there's like a little ghost thing. So much detail. So we're going to expand this now, rather than going card by card, which would take like hours at my rate. Here's an interesting theme. This just sort of came up in a cave in the background on the Emperor, and now it is more forward in the Hierophant. Hierophant, and which side is it? Over here is these light beings. You get these. There's plasma beings recurring in the deck, which is interesting. And which is actually a relief here. It's sort of I'm glad they didn't go with that Starman theme to the point of making it about outer space and aliens, because that would be a different deck. But certainly here we have, I still like those plasma being referenced as a like ascended masters or glowy guys, kind of in the background here, the secret chiefs, as it were. Lovers, interesting. We got very definitely two feminine forms here in the Lovers card. And that's one way of showing a loving couple and keeping it gender fluid, which is appropriate certainly for the lovers and the choices in the lovers, and appropriate in life. Here we have the Chariot. Definitely kind of a macho dude in the Chariot. That I'll have to kind of look more, well, I am looking without my glasses, and it's still kind of difficult to kind of just discern what the hell is going on in this Chariot itself. But there's like faces, but what are they? They look like sort of ogres. I guess I'll have to look at the book for that one. It's definitely not the wheels within the wheels of Ezekiel here going on. It's another love, something else. Because here we are. He's armed with the sword here of the previous card of the lovers. Of course, lovers means sword. Zane means sword, the Hebrew letter. We have a deck here where number 8 is strength. And interesting. And of course, 11 is justice. 8 strength, 11 justice. We'll go with that. It's definitely not a Crowley. They definitely have the Emperor as number 4, not the star. So that hasn't been switched around. Again, so here's a little contrast. We can see, there's many levels, but here we go from the strength card to the alien, which is the Hermit. So a change name there again, alien to Hermit. Oops, I'm leaning on the table. It's making it all wiggle. Don't lean on the table. Is that going to stop? So like one seems so busy with the strength card. There's like so many multiple layers, and a little more direct here with the alien card or the Hermit card. In what it depicts, more clear, kind of this cave, the mountain. Certainly there's plenty of symbolism as well. But I haven't quite figured out what the symbolism here is recurring, as in the top of the strength card and at the bottom is kind of the cyber mishmash, which begins to look like letters. Maybe there'll be a clue about that in the little booklet. But it's like as on the back, it's not letters, it's not writing, it's kind of computer-generated, computer-looking kind of data mishmash. Looks like a data mishmash. That's my definition. That's a recurring kind of symbol. Here we got the wheel, and it's sort of cute. I mean, just the way it's like the artist's rendition of "This Is My David Bowie," and David Bowie's in the center of the wheel. David Bowie, center of my life. At least for that decade, buddy. It's cute. But thank goodness, he's not everywhere in this deck. I mean, not every character is David Bowie. Certainly not this Angel of Justice holding the rather graphic heart. It's sort of she's representing the balance with the graphic brain as well. So what she got? She's got the heart in the left and the right, and the brain in the left, which is sort of opposite of the tree of life, Kabbalistic. Generally, Venus is considered to be the right hand, and Mercury the left hand. No, I got that backwards now. Venus is the left hand, and Mercury is the right hand. And this sort of shows the opposite to that, but not to be too fussy. It's still that idea of balance and justice. This balance between the heart and the head is maybe more traditionally Kabbalistically down the tree a bit in the Temperance card. Oh, I really like this. The Hanged Man here is like, reminds me of the Haitian voodoo priest guy, but in this case with the top hat. But in this case, the top hat is upside down. The action going on with the energy on top, like lightning and energy in the clouds, which is kind of what it's about, is the descent of energy into matter. And so I like the way that's depicted here. Interesting with the dark sphere up there in the corner, representing Binah, I'm sure, in the Tree of Life. So we're going to kind of go through this now a little faster because that's what I have time for. But I am going to be working with Temperance card this next weekend. Whoa! Don't bump the table. We're going to wiggle. Oh, it's wiggling again. Look at that little bump. And our Temperance, a more thoughtful David Bowie, kind of little munchkins there. I'm not sure what they are, and they're the more developed and sort of, to me, I'm getting this idea of the, although it's not so depicted around of course, there's always an angel in Temperance, and here the angel is sort of a Bowie figure. But even the angel has angels on its shoulders, so that's kind of different. I'm not sure where that's going. But, and these little kind of embryo critters, they're kind of getting spooky, the way they recur through here. I think this artist has like paternal issues. One of the nicer kind of artistic depictions of Bowie here ends up being on the Devil card. I'm not sure about these cat people there. Well, the cat people is also a Bowie reference, I guess, too, which is very cool. More the kind of a fun devil there. The light bearer. Lucifer, light bearer. Tower card. Interesting. I have to look and see what the actual printing on there is referenced to. And, you know, it's almost as though it's something launching off a pedestal rather than crashing down. I don't see a lot of crashing down here, except for maybe the asteroids coming. Like an energized, quite an energized tower. I like this kind of the Stonehenge below, which is a different reference to what is more lasting, more permanent. Oh, the star. Well, thanks for maintaining the feminine form here in the star. You don't want to go with the Starman in the star. That would, I think, not be true to the tarot reference. And the moon looks feminine. You know, let's cut to the chase here and get into some of these I really have to go maybe look in the book and see what he's meaning by like at the top here, along the top. There's a bright yellow. Is that letters? No, it is not letters. It's the cyber doodles. That they seem to have recurring here, have a meaning of kind of energy, sort of potential is what I get out of this cyber doodles. This idea of it's encoded, it's data that has potential, especially in the Ace of Cups here, full of potential. Two of Cups, kind of a breakthrough of love, nice, kind of the wall coming, caduceus coming, breaking through the wall there. Healing, sort of almost more a card of healing than it is love and affection per se, which is what you really read out of a lot of other Two of Cups. That's not too reflecting there. You know, I want to kind of look into the swords, because I often, Six of Cups seems odd. I think it's a reference to Peter Pan, actually, because there's like a separate shadow on the wall that really reminds me of Peter Pan trying to get his shadows back sewn onto him. Otherwise, where's the Six of Cups in there? I don't know. Seven of Cups, where's the Seven of Cups? It's just a dude in the dark, which I guess works for the Seven of Cups. I wanted to kind of blast into, Princess of Cups, very kind of cool, strong. I wouldn't really necessarily say the Princess of Cups is to be represented that strong, but I can read in what I want, right? Because the Princess of Cups is generally seen, I think, to be sort of naive and open and empathetic. And here we have one that's like, whoa, powerful, which is maybe not so much the Princess of Cups. More like the Queen of Cups. I want to get into, before we go too far or any further, let's get into the swords, because I often like to, man, some of these are busy. Nine of Pentacles, yes, she does have the hawk on her shoulder, or eagle on her shoulder, a brown eagle, or that's kind of the hawk is traditional with the Nine of Cups, but she also has a huge bat, so I'm not sure of that reference. And a ghost. She's got it all covered. I like to sometimes take the King of Swords as my own, if I'm going to use a significator in a reading. I will use the King of Swords if it's a general significator. So let me have a look there. Where are we going with that? Ten of Swords. Prince of Swords. God, I think it's got a rough shape, man. Queen of Swords. Creepy. Yeah, no severed heads except for hers in there, so often the Queen of Swords is depicted as I've forgotten her name now. Herod Jr.'s wife, who asked her Salome, her daughter, for the head of John the Baptist, and they delivered. King of Swords, that's the guy we're looking for, with the ace. Nice. Commanding dude. The energy here of kind of electricity around for air is appropriate lightning, like that. sort of energy. And interesting with the prominent baboon, was the thoughts familiar, if you will, thought, associated with the Egyptian god Thoth, and knowledge bearer, wisdom keeper, Thoth. Associate that with the Knight of Sword, King of Swords. So I can go with that. You know, it just seems funny. Does anybody have a sword in this card? I can barely discern. Does the baboon have a sword, or is it the piece of a sword, or is it a pipe? Looks like it's like a Aboriginal smoking pipe that the baboon has rather than a sword. So please, you know, yeah, I would have loved to have the King of Sword have a sword, but anyway, there we are. So it's a beautiful deck. There's our Ace of Swords. You know, it doesn't look much like what the baboon is holding here, in a sense. It's like, don't really understand that. It's like the artist has gone out of his way to make the sword not look like a metallic, shiny, sharp sword. It's like, is that depicting an ancient kind of rusty sword that somebody took out of a Viking tomb? Or is that organic, or is it wooden? I don't know. Kind of like shiny swords. But anyway, we don't get them here. But small criticism, again, all his swords look like they're, I don't know, kind of poorly carved wood or organic for the most part. It's a theme. So, beautiful deck though. Beautiful deck, and I have to say I really do like the way, I don't mind the changing of the words a bit here. Alien for hermit. Am I making that wiggle again? Yes. I appreciate the multi-levels, even though I guess I'm gonna have to look at the book to kind of get a sense of what the kind of cyber doodles mean for him, for the artist. What the glowing plasma beams mean for the artist. What maybe there's a hint as to why none of the swords look like very sharp. You know, these are fine details. Overall, it's beautiful though, and it's, as a reader, I really appreciate the multi-layerings here, the levels that you can look it over quick, or you can really analyze each card in its own kind of layers. So yeah, very cool. Starman Tarot. I appreciate having it.